In Glasgow city centre, busking is a time-honored art form that adds color and vibrancy to the public spaces. Busking is a wonderful part of Glasgow's legendary music scene, adding character and culture to what would otherwise be a square mile of only excessive consumerism. It forms an integral part of the city centre's vibe and demeanor. Yet, busking has always been and may always be steeped in controversy. Compared to London, Edinburgh, and other cities, Glasgow is a good city for busking and buskers. The streets resemble a walk-through jukebox, taking you to the traditions of Celtic music, along to jazz, rock, and roll, and everything in between.
I think Glasgow could be called the busking capital of the world because there's so many street musicians here and street performers. The council allow it, there's no license required, and it's actually promoted in this city. The slogan of the city is "People make Glasgow."
However, the upkeep of peace and harmony between street performers relies on an adherence to what was once a set of unwritten rules. When a busker sets out to perform on a street, they join an existing community, which also includes street traders, shops, residents, other members of the public, and other buskers. With so much activity taking place within an already busy city center, issues can arise.
Some of the really touristy towns that are really busy, like buskers, but then some of the shopkeepers and the townspeople don't like the buskers so much. So there's a bit of conflict between, a lovely like countryside, sort of quaint town.
With the bagpipes, they're very loud, and Buchanan Street here, the Style Mile, as they like to call themselves, I think they find busking a little bit not as classy as they'd like this street to be a little bit. Some of the shops give you that impression. So that's how I generally do it a little bit later here when the shops are closed,
To promote good relations and a vibrant street culture, Glasgow City Council created Buskers Code for street performers.
Presently, the busking situation, they're very good buskers in Glasgow, but there is some conflict between the buskers. I think there's 50 or 60 metres between each busking act. It's on at a particular time. Some people encroach in their space, which causes problems. We also have problems with the shops. We deal with the shops with the radio. We'll get frequent phone calls from the shops saying that buskers are too loud. Could you ask them to move on?
The guidelines also state that the sale of merchandise is not allowed. It means you can give away CDs or other items, but you cannot charge a fee for them. To sell items for a fee, you need a street trading license. Wandering Sounds is a Glasgow-based duo. They used to sell their album while busking, which Glasgow's community officers would turn a blind eye to, exemplifying the council's desire to keep busking alive in the city. Wandering Sounds' album can be bought for only a donation when they are busking, and it is also available to be downloaded from their Facebook page for free, or it can be purchased online. If buskers do not adhere to the codes established by Glasgow City Council, they may be asked by police to stop performing. If they don't, they could be charged and risk any equipment being seized.
Illegal for people to busk on the underground. You had to get a licence to busk. Now what this meant was that there was large parts of London Underground that nobody was playing on. And what it was, it's changed now. But there were semicircles painted or stuck to the floor, showing that this is where people are going to be busking. And so what I would do is just rock up there anyway, and all you had to do when you did get caught was be very nice to the guards. And at Charing Cross I had probably about a good 4 or 5 months at Charing Cross. There's a long tunnel that goes from the Charing Cross station to the Trafalgar Square part. And between the hours of 4 and 6, it was illegal for anybody to play there because it was so busy. Because between 4 and 6 you had loads of people coming down. So I would just go and rock up down there with my guitar and put me back against the wall. However many people was coming past me and just blast out. And it was, I earned a lot of money like doing that, you know. And I got caught probably a few times. And cause as long as you're nice to the guards and not an idiot, like when they're coming, because they come and they a lot of the time that they're feeling that threat, they're feeling like, I don't know who this is, that they could be a bad person who could throw a rock. So they're coming at you stressed out. So if you just let them have control of the situation, say, look, I'm really sorry man, I'm just trying to earn a few quid, and they get on with you, then they'd leave you alone. They used to leave me alone. Once they got to know me, they'd just walk past and carry on. They'd go like that as they'd walk past, and they didn't know. But then what they started doing, what finished it all, is that they stationed police officers at every station, one single police officer. And if you're a busker in London and you get stopped twice in the same borough, and then they take your stuff away. And the police officer, what happened a few times, I get stopped by police a few times before, I go, yeah right mate, fair enough, I'll move on, come back an hour later. They're gone. So she's come down, a young lady, she stopped me. I said, yeah right, sorry, okay. I said, so where are you heading off now to? Like wondering when she's going to be gone, like, you know. He said, I'm not heading off anywhere, I'm stationed here. I said, what do you mean you're stationed? He said, well, now stationed, you've got police officers stationed at each train station. That dummy, she said, if I see you again, you'll get nicked. So I left. Yeah, and that ruined it for me.
With or without the codes of practice set out by the council, busking is still not easy. Different buskers have different reasons for busking. Some buskers perform purely because they enjoy singing or playing, and this gives them the opportunity to get a bit of pocket money. But for many, busking is a crucial means of making a living or gaining exposure.
It's an important part of the city, and like there's obviously, as I said to you before, there's different levels of busking. Like you've got the people at the very bottom, which you should meet and talk to, doing it for their food from day to day.
Ryan is from Ireland. He used to be homeless. He believes people with difficulties should choose busking rather than begging on the street. What's valuable about the busker is that they put a lot of effort into their acts, give a performance, and entertain the public.
Where I had no place to live. I used to sleep in the park. I've been there, like, you know, it's happened to me. And through the music, it kind of pulled me out, like, you know, it was a gateway to kind of going somewhere. There's nobody judging you. So I seen the way people, they were unique, the way they used to make money here in Scotland, the way they used to put their mark on. There was no ticket entry fee, there was no lining up for a queue, there was no audition. You just went out there and you did your stuff, like, you know, it's as if you were going out on your own stage here. It's like you were already a winner. I mean, like, you play your music and you just get lost in the crowd as well. That's what I liked about the scene here. It's great here in Glasgow because the crowd is unbelievable, especially during the day. Like you have a great culture here in Scotland, you know, for that kind of music. I like it because it's bringing me to where exactly I want to go. You make maybe what on a good night, if you have a good crowd, you can make that between maybe 120 to maybe 200 pounds. That's on a good night. Just because you're Irish, they'll let you play away as well, like, and that's a good thing as well. But then there's other people, you know, who are other buskers, like, and they could be located, like, we'll say, maybe about 60 metres. They would come down and maybe 3s or 4s and say, hey, give back that guy's equipment, do you know what I mean? He's trying to busk. And like, I mean, I'm saying, like, you know, I said, I'm not looking for any money here. I said, I'm just playing for the sake of playing for myself. I said, you know, and I said, if anyone else wants to listen, it's their choice. I said, yeah, that's, like, the positive is, I suppose, is the people do let you. The negative is that other people get very jealous and very dominant, even not even over their own patch, but over other buskers. That's a pretty scary situation, like, you know, jealousy, it's a very contagious thing, like, but I don't see the jealous point of it, like, you know, if you're good enough, I mean, to be out there singing, then you should be good enough to sing and not be jealous about somebody else. But that's the thing you see here in Scotland. If you're anyway good at all, people who are not generally that good, like, you know, tend to kind of try and bully you out of the equation, you know, and I didn't like that. You know, especially when I had nothing and I really and truly needed an income. Fair enough, I had great clothes and I had a great guitar, but I had no money and I had no place to live. I was going back collecting a sleeping bag and sleeping in a park that night, surrounded by what? Clouds and rain. And it's these people going back to a 5-bedroom house with mom and dad and everything. I says, and here's me trying to make real money on the street for a real cause, for myself. and that's the kind of intimidation you get.
Bella is one of the female buskers on the street. She became exhausted after she played for 3 hours.
It's just really hard. You need really good energy. You need, to feel clear and ready to go. And sometimes you don't have that energy, but you kind of have to do it anyway. Sometimes you can play really, really well. Like today, I feel like I played quite well, but I didn't make any money. And other times, I can be really struggling, and then I'll make lots of money. So it's I think there's something to do with the general atmosphere on the day, what kind of mood people are in generally, as opposed to actually how good the performance is, strangely. I've often found that busking, you tend to get more money and conversation off really quite poor people. I've had money off, people, beggars with no teeth. I met a man who said he'd been made homeless and his Great Dane had died, and he gave me, he stopped for a chat and gave me £1, and that's one thing that I've learned from the street. It's the people are kind of more in the bottom of society that kind of tend to support you more.
And they're like the normal street people, the real street people, like the people who are the street.
Have you seen the yoga walking the streets of London?
Gary has been playing guitar for 50 years. On Christmas Eve, he usually plays music at the side of the street.
I come out to play on Christmas Eve. It's because it's a nice time of the year, and I like to play to the people. And the people, most of the people in Glasgow streets, with me playing here for so long, they expect me to be here. So I like to come out. And at the same time they appreciate me, and I enjoy it. That's why I come out on Christmas Eve. But I have family. I do enjoy myself, and but it's also nice to come out and play to the streets because there's so many happy people and children and families and young couples, and this is one of the reasons why I always try to come out at Christmas and New Year.
And then after that, you've got the people who are good professional musicians who are out doing it to earn just a bit of extra pocket money, a few quid, because you can earn just as much busking as what you can going out gigging. It takes half the time to do.
Mike and Mike, a friend. One is a professional musician and one is busking for making a living.
Yeah, my name's Matt Black. I don't busk. I play music for a profession. I really enjoy it, and I hope to do it for the rest of my life.
I started going out about a year ago, and I done it for the money.
I prefer to play indoors, where it's nice and warm, and people clap when you're finished. Whereas Mick likes the torture of the outdoors where nobody's really listening.
I get my beer money from it and my tobacco money.
I only play music that I don't like, because then if I play songs that I like, it ruins it for me. So I just play complete shit. I don't have the balls to go out and busk, because I've got this sort of self-esteem issues,
After you do it one time, you're fine.
A lot of the best musicians get discovered on the streets busking. So it's a good way to do that, to get heard if you want to become a famous person, perhaps, professional. But it's good, you make good money. Life is a dream. I'm living the dream, me and Mick.
Then you get the people at the very top. There's a place in Covent Garden, and you've got the classical music. And these are people that are like trained for all their life to play their instrument, and they've come to Covent Garden to busk.
Clandonia, the famous treble drums and pipe band from Glasgow, They are considered as the authentic tribal sound of Scotland.
We're well known in Glasgow for playing on the street, and that's the way we do it. We're a people's band. I've always made sure that we're a people's band, and we love performing to the people from all walks of life and from all over the world. We mostly work at night time performances and in venues. So if the weather's okay, we'll come into the city of Glasgow to perform for everyone. It's free shows, you know. And if you maybe do a wee research, part of your documentary, and look into our history, you'll see that we played the biggest festival in Scotland, Tea in the Park. We opened up the main stage, and we were on the same stage as Beyonce, Coldplay, then the Glasgow Commonwealth Games 2014. We were the band that played at the opening. So you'll find us either in a stadium or you'll find us playing in the street. Young ones have been encouraged from little, and I've seen them through the years. They either play the drums or the pipes, and they'll come up to me and they're now like 15, 16, 17, and they're still playing those instruments. So something good comes out of it also. And we play many weddings, and they love it, you know. And especially if you have people coming from anywhere in the world. They always love us to be there because they want the Scottish feel, the theme, and we're the ones that are mostly picked to do it.
People hear us down the street, they'll instinctively just walk up and come and have a wee boogie, and everyone seems quite happy about it, I guess. Everyone enjoys it. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say it's very, very tribal. It gets people in here.
Yeah.
The noise of the drums and the pipes really affects people in the heart.
Busking is across the board. It's culture, it's music culture, because it relies a lot on its arts.
Glasgow is synonymous with a host of pubs, clubs, people and events that entice locals out of every corner and onto the streets to dance, drink and indulge in a city where the creativity of its people is its lifeblood. One of Glasgow's subtlest, yet most warming and enduring qualities is its depths and breadths of buskers and street artists who transform the city's public spaces into free festival for all to enjoy. Buskers will always get good days as well as really bad days. Sometimes they can come out and make next to nothing. Other times they get what they need and more. From singer-songwriters, young and old, to full-blown bands, to drummers, bongo players, harpists, and pipers. From the very bottom to the very top, they all have their stories. People do indeed make Glasgow, but without buskers and street artists alike, this phrase would make little sense.
Children always look at you, and dogs are quite like looking at. It tends to be, I don't know, you do, the slightly crazy people do tend to come and talk to you, and old people as well. I made a great friend busking in my hometown, an 85-year-old man whose wife was in a coma, and he had all these great stories to tell, and he took me for lunch a couple of times, and we've sort of developed a friendship which I never would have had if it wasn't from busking.
I'm heading for the rocks and only I can change it. You know I gotta find my way, 'cause I know I can make it.
There's a wheel, there's a lassie, and that wheel waiting patiently for me. She's a picture of perfection, and she would me tell you if you see her, you would love her just the same as me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
God bless you.
Hello, God bless you. Thank you.
So that's the local Glasgow